On a cold evening in Cleveland, Ohio, when the sky hung low and gray and the wind cut through jackets like knives, Daniel Carter stood outside a small corner grocery store, staring at a paper bag in his hands. Inside it was a simple meal, half a roasted chicken, a roll, and a small container of mashed potatoes. It wasn't fancy. It wasn't warm anymore. But it was everything he had. Daniel was 34 years old, tall but thinner than he should have been, with tired blue eyes and a face marked by quiet endurance. He worked construction when work was available, day labor when it wasn't. Some weeks were decent. Some weeks were empty. This was one of the empty ones. That meal wasn't just dinner. It was tomorrow's breakfast too. As he stepped off the curb, ready to walk the 3 miles back to his tiny rented room, a voice stopped him. "Excuse me, sir." Daniel turned. A man stood near the bus stop bench, late 50s, maybe early 60s. His coat was too thin for the weather, his beard gray and uneven, his eyes sunken but sharp. His hands trembled slightly as he held them together. "I'm sorry to bother you," the man said softly. "But I haven't eaten in 2 days." Daniel felt the familiar tightening in his chest. He'd heard those words before. Sometimes they were true. Sometimes they weren't. And every time, the same question rose inside him: can I afford to help? He looked down at the bag in his hands. The man noticed. "I don't need money," the stranger added quickly. "Just food. Even a little." Daniel's mind raced. He thought about the empty fridge in his rented room. The overdue electric bill. The job interview scheduled in 3 days. He thought about how hunger felt at night, how it kept you awake, how it hollowed you out. And then he thought about something his mother used to say before she passed away. "If you're the only one who can help, then you're the one who's meant to." Daniel swallowed. Without another word, he opened the bag, pulled it toward the stranger, and held it out. "You can have it," he said. "All of it." The man froze. "All?" he asked. "I don't want to take." "It's okay," Daniel interrupted. "I'll manage." The stranger's eyes filled with tears. He took the bag carefully, as if it might disappear. "Thank you," he whispered. "You don't know what this means." Daniel shrugged, trying to downplay the moment. "Just pay it forward someday." The man nodded slowly. "I won't forget this. I promise." Daniel turned and walked away before the man could say anything else. He didn't want gratitude. He didn't want to think about the hunger that would hit him later. He just wanted to get home. That night, Daniel lay in bed listening to his stomach growl, staring at the ceiling. He told himself it was just one night. He'd survived worse. Still, as sleep finally took him, he wondered if kindness was something only the comfortable could afford. The next few days were hard. Daniel skipped meals, drank water to quiet the hunger, and focused on the upcoming interview. It was for a maintenance position at a mid-sized manufacturing company on the edge of town. Steady hours. Benefits. A chance to breathe again. On the morning of the interview, Daniel put on his cleanest shirt, smoothed his hair, and stood in front of the mirror. He looked older than 34. Life had a way of doing that. "Just be honest," he muttered to himself. "That's all you can do." The building was larger than he expected, modern glass doors, clean sidewalks, American flags fluttering outside. He almost turned around, feeling out of place, but forced himself forward. Inside, a receptionist smiled and asked him to wait. A few minutes later, a man in a dark suit stepped into the lobby. "Daniel Carter?" he asked. Daniel stood. "Yes, sir." "Please, follow me." They walked down a long hallway lined with framed photos, company milestones, charity events, employees smiling at picnics. Daniel noticed one photo in particular, a group serving meals at a homeless shelter. Something about it made his chest tighten. They entered a spacious office. The man gestured to a chair. "My name is Michael Harrington," he said. "I'm the CEO of this company." Daniel's eyes widened. He hadn't expected that. Michael studied him for a moment, then smiled faintly. "Before we talk about your resume, I want to ask you something." Daniel nodded, nervous. 3 nights ago, Michael said slowly, "Did you give your only meal to a stranger at a bus stop near West 14th Street? Daniel's breath caught. "Yes," he said cautiously. "Why?" Michael leaned back in his chair, eyes glistening. "Because that stranger was me." The room went silent. Daniel stared, his mind refusing to catch up. That can't be." "I know I look different," Michael said. "And that was intentional." He stood, walked to the window, and spoke quietly. "Every year, I spend 1 week living on the streets. No wallet. No phone. No identification. I want to understand what people face, really understand it, not from reports or meetings." Daniel's hands trembled. "You were testing people?" Michael turned back, shaking his head. "No. I was testing myself. My faith in humanity." Most people looked away. Some were cruel. A few offered kind words. "But you gave me everything you had." Daniel felt heat rush to his face. "I didn't know who you were." "That's why it mattered," Michael said. "If you had known, it would have meant nothing." He sat across from Daniel again. "Do you know how many people with far more than you refuse to help?" Michael continued. "Do you know how rare it is for someone to give when it actually costs them something?" Daniel swallowed. "I just didn't want you to go hungry." Michael smiled. "That tells me more about your character than any resume ever could." He slid a folder across the desk. "I want to offer you the job," Michael said. "With a higher starting salary than listed. Full benefits. And something else." Daniel opened the folder with shaking hands. "I also want you to help us lead a new community outreach program," Michael added. "Not because you're perfect, but because you remember what it feels like to struggle." Tears streamed down Daniel's face. "I don't know what to say," he whispered. "Say yes," Michael replied gently. Daniel nodded. "Yes." Weeks passed. Daniel's life began to change in ways he never imagined. He had steady income. A warm apartment. Food in his fridge. But more importantly, he had purpose. He worked hard, learned quickly, and treated everyone, from janitors to executives, with the same respect. One afternoon, as Daniel helped organize meal deliveries for local shelters, he saw a familiar figure outside the building. A man sat on a bench, coat worn thin, eyes tired. Daniel stopped. He recognized that look. Without hesitation, he grabbed a bagged lunch from the outreach supplies and walked over. "Hey," he said warmly. "You hungry?" The man looked up, surprised. "Yeah. I am." Daniel handed him the bag. "Here. All of it." The man smiled, tears forming. "Thank you." As Daniel walked back inside, he felt something settle in his chest. Kindness hadn't made him poorer. It had made him rich in the only way that mattered.